and we called him Uncle Chaim. Very, very gentle, very quiet. And for the first time, he raised his voice. That made such an impression on me. For the rest of my life, my mother said, "You want a coffee?" "No." Uncle Chaim is going to come down from heaven and scream at me.
I want to ask you something that we talked today, so you explain it in your words, so they will criticize you and not me, but we will learn, okay? Nah, just kidding. When we were talking about fulfilling the law, because in the Christian community, as I explained to you, we believe in grace, and people take that as a freedom to do whatever, and people think that doing the law is something that is not required, because we need grace. And you explain about Yom Kippur and the necessity of... How can I explain the people here concerning the law and grace? That was my question.
So we spoke yesterday.
I have my hat, you see?
Now we're twins.
Now somos amigos. Este es mi gorro nuevo de viajar, así que...
I will make a prediction like a prophet. 20 years from now, it will look like this.
Well, I want the wisdom.
It is true, it's correct. I don't need the laws. I don't need the commandments, because I don't need anything. But if he needs it, for him, I would do it. I spoke to a young girl, and she says, "I believe in God, and I believe in grace, and I believe in..." I said, "But do you keep kosher?" So she said, "I don't have to. I will get to heaven without keeping kosher." I said, "I know. Do you keep kosher?" So she explains it again. "You used to have to keep the laws in order to get to heaven, but now we have the grace, and I'll get to heaven without it." I said, "I understand. I'm just asking you, do you keep kosher?" She said, "Why are you asking me this?" I said, it says in the Bible that certain animals are objectionable to God. So because you love God, even though you'll get to heaven without keeping kosher, I was just wondering whether you're doing it just for him. You know he likes it. Do it for him. She got very flustered, very confused. And she said, I have to think about it. You're confusing me. But this is the truth. We never needed to do the commandments. If you want to get to heaven, but if you don't, so you don't. It's not our need. So really calling it a commandment is a little bit of a mistake. Because every time God told us to do something, he was telling us what's important to him, not important to me. Why does he tell us what's important to him? Because he needs us to be his partner. This is why I created the world. This is what I need from the world. Can you help me? So is that a commandment? It's a relationship. In a relationship, there are no commandments. There are just cooperation in what you both believe in, what's important to both of you. So, very practical. We have a commandment to honor our parents, universal. If you don't honor your parents, you don't respect yourself. It always works that way. If your father is not your father, then you are not a son. If your mother is not your mother, then you are not a daughter. If you're not a son and you're not a daughter, who are you? So listen to this little story. I was about 11 years old. I had an uncle, my grandfather's brother, a great uncle. His name was Chaim, and we called him Uncle Chaim. He was an old man when I was 11, very, very gentle, very quiet. He had a difficult life. His wife was very sick for many years. They never had children. And when the wife passed away, Uncle Chaim would come to eat in our house. We had a little apartment in Brooklyn, tiny little kitchen. So we're sitting at dinner. My mother was standing behind me by the sink. And I said, "Mama, can I have a spoon? Uncle Chaim became so upset. He turned red. And for the first time, he raised his voice. He said, how can you use your mother? Then he realized, it's not his house. And he said, I'm sorry. That made such an impression on me. For the rest of my life, and my mother lived to be 101, whenever I came home and my mother said, you want a coffee? No. Uncle Chaim is going to come down from heaven and scream at me. He was horrified. How do you do that? You use your mother to save yourself a step? Get up and take a spoon yourself. So we have to tell our children the commandment of honoring parents means you do the tasks for them. You never ask them to do something you can do yourself. No. You serve them, they don't serve you. So I said this to a group of little children. I said, if your mother is coming down the stairs and your helmet or your sweater is at the top of the stairs, you are not allowed to ask your mother to bring the sweater down. That's honoring parents. So a little boy said, oh no, my mother loves to do things for me. So I said, well, then you have a very good mother. Now you be a good boy. She would love to do it for you, but you're not allowed to ask. That would be a big change in the atmosphere of the home. Don't call your parents by their first name. I told a young girl, I was visiting their house, and she said to her father, are we going to the park? The father said, ask your mother. And the girl said, I asked her, she said to ask you. So I said to the girl, it wasn't my business, but I said, you're not supposed to call your mother she. It's mama, not she. This girl gave me a look like, who are you? Who asked you for your opinion? The father called me later that night, and he said, I want to thank you for what you did today. I said, what did I do? When the boy, the son, who was younger than the girl, when he came home, the father heard the daughter say to the son, you know you're not supposed to say she about mama? He says, you have changed the atmosphere in our home. It feels like a family. It never felt like a family. So children don't sit in their father's chair or in their mother's chair. You don't call your parents by their first name. You certainly don't disagree with them in public. And you feel like a family.
Okay, so Rabbi, thank you. Tonight, vamos a dar un fuerte aplauso una vez más en el día de hoy. Thank you for coming. I wanted to... Denle un aplauso, ¿verdad que sí? For us, it's been an honor to have you here, for you to accept our invitation and to allow us to meet and to, share so many deep thoughts. Thank you for your opportunity of coming here to Puerto Rico and accepting the invitation. I hope that you come back one day, that you accept another invitation and you come back, that we treated you well, and that you will keep us always in your mind and in your thoughts. So thank you for coming to Puerto Rico.
One day? Which day?
Un día. ¿Qué día?
Thank you very much for listening, for
Gracias por
inviting me.
escucharme.
And thank you for bringing the world closer together. And on this occasion, before the beginning of the new year, perfect time. Make the world better. God will be so glad.
Thank you. Den un fuerte aplauso.
If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic, and you're looking for more information, or you want to hear it again from another angle, there's a way to do that. And that is in this book. It's all there. Order it from Amazon. You can read it, reread it, and share it.